What is going on, everybody? Hopefully the stream's working. If you can let me know if the audio is working, that would be great. I'm trying to have it up on the computer so I can monitor the chat. Looks like it's working. Anyways, Saturday night, I did not live stream last night, as pretty much everybody's aware of, and I thought I would talk about why. There's a couple reasons, and no real topic tonight or anything. Wasn't really planning to go live right now because I've been having internet problems. But let's talk about why I didn't live stream yesterday. It kind of started with Thursday night was New Year's Eve, and I actually went to Ohio Fish Rescue, and I hung out there for New Year's Eve. Woke up, came home, and was doing some things around the house, ate dinner, and I fell asleep. So that was kind of part one. I fell asleep, I woke up, it was like 8 o'clock, somewhere around there. I know OFR was still live, and I totally forgot, but Ohio State football was the bowl game versus Clemson. So I started watching that, and as soon as I got into that, Ohio State was doing awesome. I got sucked into the game and kind of forgot about the live stream. So that's really what happened last night. Is I took the night off and watched some football. So I'm going to make up for it tonight, going live, and hopefully the notifications are going out. I know I mentioned earlier today on the community tab that I was going to try to go live tonight or tomorrow. I had quite a bit of stuff to do today, so I wasn't sure when I would be done. And I didn't get everything done that I needed to do, but I got a lot of it done. I didn't do anything fish related today. I actually worked on a car for my second channel. And then I was going to upload the video. I already edited the video tonight, and I was going to upload it. And that's when I realized I have an internet issue. So my internet download's working correctly, but I'm getting no upload speed. Because I told it to upload the video, I walked away, and I came back 5 minutes later, and it was at like 1%. And normally it uploads all my videos. It's such a quick upload that it's usually done in just a couple minutes. So right now my internet upload's not working. I reset my router and modem and all the internet stuff. So I'm assuming it's an internet provider issue. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. So I couldn't use my streaming software because it's not going to output any video to YouTube. So I'm on my cell phone, so hopefully everything is working with that. But a lot of people here tonight already, which is awesome. Tim was the first one in the chat, so Happy New Year to everybody in the chat. I see a lot of Happy New Year's coming through. Glad to see everybody. Metalhead said I was just about to call it a night too. Well, what's the drinking word? Oh man, let me think of what the drinking word will be. Let's make the drinking word fish. Whether it's fish tank, I think it's a very easy word, and that maybe it'll be said a lot. Nothing special tonight. Or we could do like fish, and if it, New Year or this year, the word year, just so you guys can have some fun. But I Hate Stupid People's here. Hello. Adele, hello. Von Yinzers, hello. Happy New Year, guys. So the video I did today that was not fish related, so drink, was replacing a starter on a car. The second channel, it's not live yet, like it's made, but it's not like, I'm not, throwing out the information on it yet. It's going to be about the non-fish related side of what I do in general. So repairing cars, doing repairs to the house, stuff like that, stuff that people on this channel like enjoy, but it also brings out like a broader reach to YouTube. So like stuff I was going to originally just upload to this channel, I thought let's keep it on a separate channel, so that way the people that are strictly looking for fish related stuff, you know, I won't alienate them with these car repairs. But I did a starter on a BMW today, and I did, you know, point by point, start to finish. And one of the things I wanted to really get on was naming off the bolt sizes. So, you know, like I YouTube how to fix stuff a lot, and people will be like, all right, remove this bolt, blah, blah, blah. Well, I like it when someone's like, take that bolt out, it's a 10 millimeter. So that way I know I need a 10 millimeter. And if you watch a video before you do it, you know exactly what tools you need. So I went through and made sure I mentioned like, hey, this size is a 10, this size is an 8, this is 11. And so that's the first video I officially made for the second channel. I just can't upload it right now, so once I can get it uploaded and onto YouTube, I'll post a link to the other channel. But yeah, so that's what I did today. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Got a super chat from Suan Campbell, or Campbell. I think it's Campbell. Happy New Year. I'm about to buy 2 heaters. Do you sell them? I would much rather buy from you. I do sell heaters, but I think I might be sold out. I have one left. It looks like 100 watt. So I don't have 2 heaters right now. So unfortunately, unless you want to buy a heater and some other stuff and use the discount code is YouTube at checkout. You'll save 10%. Like I don't know if there's some fish foods you need, or anything else to go with the heaters. You could buy 1 heater, but I don't have 2. Vanianzer said, oh crud, a second drinking word game on a channel that doesn't usually have one. This is water. I'm kind of tired. I thought about making coffee, but I have a lot of work to do tomorrow, like fish related. I gotta do all the water changes. You can see this tank needs topped off. Instead of topping this tank off, I'm going to do a partial water change, and all the tanks in the fish room need water changes, and a couple tanks in the family room need water top-offs. So it doesn't take me that long, maybe half an hour to do all 55-ish tanks. It's not too bad. Mrs. Metalhead said, oh, Vanienzer, welcome to the life of a metalhead. My chat's kind of jumping. Trying to scroll. And we don't need an excuse, but we'll ask for one. Hey, I'm down. Metalhead Prime with a $10 super chat. Fish food. Happy New Year. Yep. Well, thank you, Mr. Metalhead, and I'm sure Mrs. Metalhead, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Tim said, I used the Python I got for Christmas today for the first time. What a game changer. Did you get the Python one that hooks up to your sink? I actually looked at getting that for this tank specifically, and I bought, let me show you, because we can go mobile. I bought, maybe I didn't. Where is it? So this is like the extra big Python tube that hooks up to, I don't know if you can, where's the camera? Inside this hooks up to the faucet, like that system, the like clean and fill, I think is what they call it. And I tried to buy like the 100-foot version, so that way I can run it from my kitchen. And then one of the things is I found out I got one of those like real fancy faucets. So they do sell a bunch of adapters. So I bought all the Python adapters, like threaded ones, just to see if I can make something work. and then I order it through my wholesaler, and then it turns out once I order it, it wasn't in stock, so I never got it. So I still do this, just dragging the hose from the fish room out. I did do a video on how I do that. Let me see if I get through this chat. Oh wait, I think I need to change the chat on the phone. Oh, not that. Chat, there we go. Live chat, not top chat. There we go. Now I'm chatting on my phone fully loaded with emojis. Oh man. Okay, now I'm back where I was. Mrs. Metalhead Prime with a $5 super chat. Pays her own way fish food. Well, thank you so much. Von Yinzer with a $5 super chat. How's Bruce doing? Don't let us down. Bruce Fish. We can go check out Bruce. Tim said I got the 50-foot. Yeah, I figured if I was going to buy one, I'd just make sure I get one big enough. So I bought it. Well, I tried to buy the 100. While we're here, this tank, it's getting algae. So I switched the light on the, where is it? This right here, that's the Stingray clip-on. I turn that off and I turn on the built-in, this is a Fluval C tank. That's actually a coral light. I wanted to see what it would do. This big green thing right here, that's Christmas moss. And I want to know what would a coral light do on this tank. And it's growing everything. It's super powerful. It's growing algae on the back glass, not on the front at all. This glass is clean. It's only on the back glass. But I just put some ram's horns in there tonight, so they'll clean that up for me. But that tank needs topped off. The Barbados Cory tank, that actually needs a water change. There's no heater, so it doesn't really evaporate that quickly, but I need to do an actual water change on that tank. The 75, the Goldfish Community tank could use a water change. The tanks, the fry rack, and the 25 Guppy tank could use water top-offs. We're going to keep on walking. This tank needs topped off. That's a week. This thing evaporates super quick. It's heated, and with it being winter, the air is dry, so the water's just evaporating super quick. But we're going to go out to the fish room. And we're going to look at Bruce. And honestly, I haven't even been in the fish room at all today, so I didn't get to do any of my checks. I'm going to flip you guys around. So normally every day I check, make sure, well, no dead fish, because, with so many tanks, a fish dying is uncommon. But if a fish dies, you want to make sure you get out of the tank, but I don't see any dead fish. This tank needs a water change. Well, they all need water changes, but you can see they're not evaporating too bad, even though there is a dehumidifier running. But the Guppy tank, all right, here's Bruce's tank. I know I need to, hang on, let me turn this pump off. Is it super noisy for you guys? Because it's super noisy for me. Can I trying to unplug this one-handed. There we go. I got it. All right. Let me flip you guys back around. So the air pump, so that's the central air pump that runs these tanks. I don't know if I can back up anymore. It runs all these tanks, runs the 255s down low and the pond. I don't actually have enough air drops. These are air drops. So what I have to do is, this is just bleeding air pressure off. So that's what the hissing noise is whenever I'm in here doing a video. If you guys hear hissing, that's what that is. So I just turn the air pump off for now. And it's kind of, the cool thing though is I always hear this hissing. So if that's not hissing, then I know there's an issue, but I haven't ran into any issues with it. But let's get to Bruce. I just saw him a second ago. Where is he? But I need to do some stuff with this tank. This tank had a bunch of Serpae Tetras in it. And, there's really There's no plants. There's a little bit of Java fern in there, but I want to get some plants in here. Oh, here he is. He's right up here, guys. There's Bruce. Hopefully, like on my phone, it comes out good. Hopefully, the Wi-Fi isn't killing the quality too bad. Come on, focus. But there's Bruce. He's up there. So he gets fed tomorrow. I'm a bad dad. I didn't feed him tonight, but I'll feed him tomorrow. So far, so good. You can see up here there are, well, that one just went in its shell. There's ram's horns in this tank. Hopefully they reproduce, and he'll eat the babies. But I'm trying not to be like super quick movement, but there's ram's horns in a ton of my tanks. You know, I can pull them out of this tank. There's ram's horns. There's a shrimp on that ram's horn. Focus. Focus. I feel like this doesn't have active focusing while I'm live. Anyways, I love ram's horns. They're in a ton of my tanks. Well, let me get back in the chat and see what is up. I'm at the Bruce comments. Zena Doodoo said, I bought a 25-foot python, returned it because I need a 100-foot. Yeah, that's exactly why I tried to get the 100. Puffer pass to Bruce. Mike said, you need to get your new tanks going, Steven. And somebody just placed an order on the website. Thank you, whoever that was. Appreciate it. Mike said you need to get your new tanks going, Steven, and have Haley scape yours and my new tank the same day. Yeah, so the 200-gallon cube, I want to make that a discus tank. So I've kind of decided that's what I want to do, is a planted discus tank. I've always really wanted discus, and I think that would be the display tank I've always wanted. So I'm gonna keep my eye out for some discus once I get the tank up and going. But crap, where am I? The sump tank, it needs basically resealed. The end panel just whoever made that tank, Matt's Monster Fishes, the 750, that's OFR's video today, they made that sump terribly. Metalhead Prime, does a dehumidifier help in winter because I'm constantly filling in winter? So dehumidifier is taking moisture out of the air, which in winter the air's really dry, so it actually doesn't have to work very hard in winter. It actually was turning itself off this week because it didn't need to do any work. But no, just in general, all the tanks are evaporating. If I had more lids, it would cut that down, but a lot of my tanks I don't run lids because I want the light to be as strong as possible on the plants so I can grow plants to sell. So I use the plastic lids. I don't have any in these tanks, but I use like the twin wall, like greenhouse panels for lids. And I mean, if you think about it, you got 2 layers of plastic that light has to go through. It's got to diffuse down. So I typically I don't use lids, but Metalhead said, best part with Python is if you can extend it with bulk hose. Mine has been around for almost 2 decades. Man, you are getting old there, Mr. Metalhead. Love playing discus tanks. Yeah, I think I've always wanted discus after seeing them at LRB's house. And I always want to replace the 75. That 75 with like a water box aquarium with discus. But, you know, LRB told me, he's like, the thing is, like, you're going to have an open, you know, if it's I think it was like a 180 or 220 gallon tank, it's going to be open top because it's rimless. and if you're heating it to 86 degrees, he's like, your house will be super hot. And I do not like a super hot house. So that's why I think this tank that's going to be in the wall will be perfect. Mrs. Melhead, how do you like your Danios spelling? Are they similar to a Molly? Maybe looking to get some for a mini Melhead. The Danios are super fun to watch. Danios are very active swimmers. If you look in the tank behind me, I know it's probably blurry or hard to see, but the fish that are obviously not the goldfish, those are giant Danios. And they're, to me, they're equivalent to a rainbow fish. They're similar size, similar body shape. They swim nonstop. They're like aggressive feeders. It's like when you drop the food in, they go crazy, which is fun to watch. But you need a bigger tank. Those really need to be like in a 55 or up. Now, if you're keeping them in something, if you want something smaller, just get the regular Danios, the zebra Danios. There's like the pearl ones. They're really awesome, and they're not going to breed like a Molly will, so you won't end up overrun with them. So I really enjoy them, and they're super cheap. I think I sell them for like under $2. I don't know if they're like $1.50 or something like that. They're super cheap, and they're pretty hardy. So it's a really, really good fish, especially for kids, because they're actively swimming around, and you don't really get bored with them. Xanadudu with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I just ordered the on sale sand. Great price. Check it out, folks. And some Rapache. Glad to support your work. Thank you. Well, thank you for ordering. If you guys are subscribed to my email, I put the sand down to, I think it's $5.99 a bag. Amazon is like $12 or something like that a bag. So regular price is $12.99. They're on sale for $5.99. And I know the Sunset Gold, I only have like 4 bags of that left. So this is the sand that I bought like a pallet worth over the summer. And I think there's only like 4 bags. Somebody bought 9 bags of it a few days ago. Figure in winter your skin dries out, and a lot of homes have humidifiers on the furnaces to introduce moisture. Yeah, so I mean my house is dry, but it's not as dry as if I didn't have fish tanks. The fish tanks are definitely helping keep my house from being super dry. It's just in the summer, it's just super moist, and that's where that dehumidifier comes into work. Ken B said, are you getting wild or bright color tank raised? I will probably be getting tank raised discus. I like wild caught discus. I'm not like against wild caught fish. I know there's a lot of people that are like anti wild caught because they think it's like bad for the environment, but it's actually good at supporting the local economies in these countries where they rely heavily on the aquarium trade to buy these fish. If you guys don't know, look into like Project Piaba, and there's a lot of videos about why buying wild caught fish is actually a good thing. But the general public, not you guys, I consider everybody in this live stream a hobbyist. The general public that buys fish from a pet store, when they hear wild caught, they think it's terrible. I'm not that person. When it comes to discus, I'm a designer discus person, where I really like I like the pigeon bloods. I like the patterns, like the bright blue and red vein patterns. That's what I like. I'm not a fan of like the marble reds and the melons. I like the snake skins and stuff like that. Where am I at? Havana is snoring. Mrs. Melhead said, getting a 55 from OFR next weekend. Well, if you're getting a 55, I would get the giant Danios, because they're a ton of fun, and they're super colorful. We'll walk over there in a second. I'll show you. Xanadudu says, cheap sand, folks. It really is. I think you're out of the Sunset Gold. If you have some, I'd take a couple bags. Unless somebody ordered some today, I put some into stock. I did get a few orders today, which was cool. Does the sand have beneficial bacteria precede it? No, it does not. It's just sand, like aquarium sand. It's not like, it doesn't come in like a liquid. Metalhead said, apparently my air is super dry because I'll lose an inch a week during the winter months. Yeah, the tank in my office, the one where I live stream from, that's a 55, and it loses probably like 2 inches a week, which I don't know. I don't know how many gallons of water it loses a week, but it loses probably at least 10 gallons of water a week. It evaporates quickly in that room. She has tiger barbs and cherry barbs, and they're 30 now, 6 of each. Still good for bigger Danios. Yeah, the giant Danios, they're peaceful. They don't bother anybody. I got them in with fancy goldfish of all things. So this is like the hodgepodge of a community tank. So these giant Danios, this tank, it's looking a little rough. It needs like a rescape. This was my first fish tank. But I've been introducing adult ram's horns into the tank to get the algae on the back glass under control, just because it's it doesn't look good to look at, but the front glass is clean. But the giant Danios, it's all these guys in the middle. These guys up here, those are red Eye Monk Tetras. All these fish, all the fish in the background are from Ohio Fish Rescue. All these fish are all rescued fish. This came from a local club member that moved to California and couldn't take this kissing gourami with him. And then the 2 goldfish, this Aranda, that's Jake. And then the fantail back there came from a coworker that had 3 goldfish in that 10-gallon. But these giant Danios, they actually got a really cool pattern to them. It's kind of hard to get them to stay in one spot, but they're constantly swimming. And then here, let me drop some food in. You'll see, I already fed them today, but you can see, and this is just what I'm feeding this tank. It's goldfish flake food. And to be honest, this tank will eat whatever I put in there. So I had a jar of this. And there they go. They're super aggressive eaters, which is what makes it fun. All right. Let me shut this food lid back on before I forget. But this tank, I do want to redo this tank. This, like I said, this was my original fish tank, so it could use a redoing. I did add some plants, and they're doing well. Just floating. The goldfish are leaving them alone, and they're starting to grow, and hopefully they carpet across the top, and that will help with reducing the amount of water changes. I'm going to go back into the office because I need my water. Okay. If there's anything you guys want to see why I'm on mobile this week, let me know. Big Tank Hank is here. Hello. Just so you guys know, I will be going on his live stream on the 22nd. It's a Friday, so it'll be after my stream, and I think after LRB's stream. So for your late night people, I will be on Big Tank Hank's channel. Adele says, I need to get new gravel for my original tank. I'm over the clown puke. That's like the starter gravel, it seems like, for most people. And then it's funny, like, once you get more and more deep into the hobby, you look back like, what was I thinking? And like, like you really enjoyed that gravel. That's what you bought it. And then something kind of changes where you're like now it's like live plants. Now when I see tanks with like fake plants, unless like I know it's like, oh, it's a cichlid tank, but like when I see a community tank with fake plants, I'm like, oh man, like replace those with live plants. It's so much better. I think I'm catching up, guys. Mr. Fisher said, how is the starters tank coming along? Star Wars tank is done, and it got changed a little bit, and I need to do a video on it, but it's done. So I don't want to talk about it too much until I figure out if my aunt's going to be in the final video on it. But yeah, so that I'm hoping maybe in a couple weeks. There's no fish in the tank, but as far as being planted and all that, it's done. And that was my aunt's Christmas present this year. Metalhead said, that's like feeding my African tank. They are a blast to watch eat. Yeah, those giant Danios are sweet. And those came from OFR. Go watch Father Fish. I like MD2. I'm too lazy to do what he does. MD Fish Tanks. Is it MD Fish Tanks? MD... I really enjoy his content. He does some nice tanks. Mrs. Mill has said they're pretty too, and that's #1 for a teen girl. Yeah, I mean they're gorgeous fish. They're super active. They're fun to watch eat. Like they kind of check off all the boxes. They're not tiny, but they're not ginormous. So I'd recommend those in the 55 and up. And get at least 6 of them. Tim said, what's the big plant in the tank behind me? These are all Amazon swords. This is an extra large sword, and these are small swords. The ones in the front will get to be, that big in time. So these are where I keep the sword plants that I sell on the website. So like when I bring in the plants from the plant farms, I put them in tanks throughout the house, and then I use this tank as the Amazon sword tank. Oh, speaking of that, so these guys, I was using the co-op root tabs, right? And last live stream, I was thinking about making my own root tabs. I bought some. So these are just the empty capsules. So they're gelatin, so they dissolve in the water. And I have the dry fertilizers, and there's more behind the tank on the wall, actually. But I got all the different fertilizers, and this is how I dose a lot of the tanks, or the bigger tanks. So like the 55 and the ponds all get dosed dry. And then like the quick stuff, the nano tanks, I use the 614 FERT. I just squirt, the liquid fertilizer. Well, anyways, I am going to start playing around with a formula on root tabs. So I kind of want to make it to where if you're using a root tab, then you also don't have to use the liquid fertilizer for the tank. So this stuff I dissolve out into a water solution and then dump it into the tank, and that's how I dose the bigger tanks. Well, with the root tabs, you plant those in the substrate, and then the gel capsule dissolves, and then that fertilizer is sitting down there by the roots. Well, some of that's got to leach out into your water column. So I want to do some testing to find out how much is going to leach out, because I think it would be cool to be able to maybe do like a regular root tab and then do like a root tab like, I don't want to say like XL, but like extra strength, where if you're target feeding, like say a sword plant, you know, a regular root tab, you can target feed that plant and still dose. If you have stem plants or anything that's using water column for its nutrition, you can still use liquid fertilizer. Well, I'm wondering if I can do like an XL tab where it's going to leach out into the water column. So you just do your tabs, the fertilizer sitting at the plant, but it's also leaching out into the water column to feed the other plants. So I need to play around with that. I do believe that Corey said that there's dirt in his root tabs. And I guess I could take one apart. I don't know if I want to do that and make a mess. I'm pretty sure he said in one of his live streams that there's like actual dirt in the tabs. I'm not going to do that. I feel like that's kind of like a filler. I'm not sure. Maybe it's beneficial. Maybe they use it as a filler for the tab. I'm not sure. But I just want these things to be packed full of fertilizer so that way you can really hit plants with some nutrients. And so that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, is making some root tabs and trying it out on the sword tank. And then I can monitor the nitrates in the water column and see if those spike, or if they don't spike, then I know the nutrients are staying down in the root system. So it's just going to be some playing around. Mike said if you poke a small hole with a needle in the gel caps, the tabs are easier to stick into the substrate and don't float up. Yeah, so that's the other issue with root tabs, is that they have air in them, so they want to float. And I mentioned about making like a root tab injector, so you can use like a syringe and inject it into your substrate, and that way you're not trying to like make a hole with like tweezers. The other thing is, I was like, man, I wonder if there's a way I can fill these, under a vacuum to not have air in them, so that way they don't float. But maybe they'll float anyways, being gel. So it's probably not even worth the hassle of figuring that out. But poking a hole, that's a good idea. I didn't think about that, so thanks, Mike. Scrolling, I see you guys are talking about MD. He does have a gorgeous discus tank. Bunyanzer says, I have used EcoComplete in 3 of my tanks. I'm pretty happy with the results. I do have to get some root tabs on top of the 614 fert. The 614 fert, I need to work on getting that back. I've just been trying to sell the Nilo Thrive bottles. I still have quite a few left, maybe 10 or so, and I've been just trying to get rid of those first, and yeah. Mr. Fisher said, I'm thinking of starting a shrimp tank. Anything different from starting one that would be different than fish? The only thing that I can think of off the top of my head that would be different is make sure that if you're running anything other than like a sponge filter, which somebody ordered one tonight and it's sitting here ready to go out. If you're not running a sponge filter, there we go, and you're running like a hang-on back filter, make sure you have an intake sponge on that filter, because the shrimp babies are so tiny that they can get into anything. So that's why my shrimp tanks use like Matten filters or only sponge filters. I don't use hang-on backs. As far as starting it up, I mean, you still need to cycle the tank and have that beneficial bacteria going before you put the shrimp in. Now, as far as keeping the shrimp, any advice I could put on that? Water changes are necessary. Some people are, I don't think they're afraid of doing water changes, but they think with like water parameter swings is like deadly to shrimp. And while that's true, water change swings aren't that much of an issue. So with like my red cherry shrimp and my blue dream shrimp, I can do, and to be honest, let's walk out to the fish room. I have a real story that just happened last week on one of my fish, or one of my shrimp tanks. We'll go look at it, and I'll show you what happened. Do. Alright, so in the fish room, let me flip you around. This shrimp tank, which you can see the shrimp, maybe, reflection. This is the Matten filter, you can see shrimp all over it, right? The way this gets water changes, this is my barrel. You can see the water level is right there. To change water on this thing, I just open this little valve. It had air in that line because I actually ran this dry. There it comes. Still has some air. It's working, I promise. I just need to open it more. So anyways, the reason why there's air in this is because I did this last week. I opened this valve, was putting water in. These tanks are drilled. There's an overflow right there. I wanted to top off this tank and do a partial water change at the same time. So water's feeding in. I forgot I opened this, and I went off and did something. This whole barrel changed water on this tank, and maybe this tank. I think I was topping off all three. There's nothing in that tank, so I've just been letting it sit. So this is like 40 gallons of water. This is a 10-gallon tank. So this thing flushed. It for sure did 100% water change on it. Didn't kill any of the shrimp. There's a female right there. I don't know if it's focusing, but she's buried. There's a buried one right there. There's a buried shrimp back there. Like, they're still happy. And if you guys are wondering, this is Christmas moss that's actually growing. This is a breeder box. It's growing out of the box and down the overflow. So this is kind of immersed, but I mean, it's definitely moist. But it's kind of cool. Well, anyways, this tank basically got 100% water change, and the shrimp are doing fine. So people, I don't know, they think like huge swings and parameters are crazy. It's not an issue. Look at all the baby snails up here. Look at that. That's crazy. Looks like Bruce needs to come into this tank. Maybe the snail population just exploded because of the big water change. Anyways, let me turn this off before I forget and make that twice in a week. Okay. So yeah, big water changes. I don't recommend it, but it happened, and nothing happened to the shrimp. They're happy. But you need to do water changes. There's, a lot of people that run Planet tanks, and they say you just do top-offs. I was doing that for a long time, and it's actually not good, in my opinion, to only do top-offs. This Pleco tank behind me for the last 6 months was basically just top-offs, because the plants were eating the nitrates, right? That's not good. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not necessarily good either. And here's my opinion on it and why. The plants are eating the nitrates. They're eating the fish waste, which is great. You don't have to do a water change. the thing is, they're also consuming all the minerals out of the water. Fish, especially live bears, shrimp, and snails, need minerals in their diet, and they're consuming that. We're going for another walk because I can show you an example. They need those minerals. So when you are doing your water changes, you're not removing waste. Well, you are removing waste, but you're also putting those minerals back into the water. Let me see. I don't really have a good example out here. So this tank, see these ram's horns? See how like bright pink they are? They're happy. This system gets fresh water every single week because it's 11 tanks and no lids with constant water flow. It's a central system. Water's constantly flowing through it, plus a sump, so 12 tanks, all open tops. The water evaporates quickly, so it's constantly being, probably more than once a week. Probably every 5 days I have to add water to that system. Well, if we come back out to the fish room, I'm gonna flip you around. These aren't even bad ones. But these ram's horns are white because their shells are disintegrating into the water column. Shrimp and snails need calcium to build their shells. That's where I did the video about adding calcium to tanks. Well, my tap water, it's got traces of calcium in it. I haven't added any calcium to this fry rack. None. I didn't put any in that tank, any in the tanks or the sump. So these ram's horns, they're doing really well. Haven't had any supplements. They're just getting all of the nutrients that they need for their shells out of my tap water. Now the Barbados Cory tank, those dudes, I think from producing eggs and whatever else, they consume the calcium really quickly. And because it's a cold water tank, I don't have to really change the water on it. But there you go. If you guys can see this ram's horn right there, look how bad his shell is. It's not just white, it's actually like eroded. There's grooves in it. So this tank, I add calcium. As soon as you see, ram's horns are kind of like the canary in the coal mine. If you start having snails with shell issues, especially when they're turning white, it's because it's a lack of nutrients, it's a lack of the calcium. Water changes help add that back in. If you got a well, I would assume a well. I'm not on a well, so I'm guessing. I'm guessing well water has a ton of nutrients in it, depending on where you live, because I know West Coast is really soft water. But typically, well water is hard here in the Midwest. That's where you see like a lot of people with cichlids, shrimp keepers. The nutrients is great. But if you don't have that, or even with me, I have to dose the extra calcium in some of the tanks. My chat jumped. Where am I at? Sorry, guys. Okay, there's the small hole in the gel cap. Von Yenzer said, as the aquatics, I would love to give them a try. I have a tank that has pothos in it as well, which loves stray nitrates. Yeah, Von Yenzer, I can send you some. I'll probably honestly reach out to my members. This will probably be a member-only thing. If you guys remember from a few weeks ago, I sent out members ONIP tabs. Maybe I'll send them root tabs and they can try it for me and let me know how it works. So I'll do a video, or I'll mention that on live stream. Like once I have, like tomorrow, I gotta like come up with a formula, and then I gotta test it out. And once I think I have something that's close, I gotta use it for a while. Then during a live stream, I'll announce it for members to email me, just like the Own It tabs. Email me your address, and I'll send them out. Von Yunzer said the poor swords in that tank are looking rough. Mine are, I know you're talking about your tank, but my tank, they're doing okay. There are some leaves that are showing a little bit of nutrient deficiencies, so I probably need to hit them with root tabs. So I could hit them with the easy tabs, but this is perfect timing for me to make my own and try it out. Let's keep going. You guys are talking about crustaceans or shellfish. GRB said the dripper hose did not go in the tank. It was sitting on the plastic lid. Was that intended? Yes. I could put it in the tank water, but I like actually having them above the tank water so that way I could see the flow. That's supposed to be so I remember to turn them off. This week I forgot to turn them off. I think I actually left the house and everything. I don't know what I was doing. I think I started them, got sidetracked, forgot, and then I went and did something, and then when I came home, what was I doing? I don't know if I went to top off the other barrel and no water came out of the storage barrel up top, but that's when I realized I just did like 100% water change on those tanks. Yeah. And then somebody was asking me about that air pump. I have them out here. So that's like a linear piston air pump or whatever. And normally you hook it up to PVC, then you drill it, you tap it, and you put barb fittings in it. I thought I had one actually sitting here. I don't. And then you run your airlines from it. Well, that was whenever I started importing fish like wholesale. I did like a quick buy of fish and wasn't prepared, and so like I set the pump up. I'm like, man, I don't have whatever I didn't have. I didn't have something. I didn't have a way to like connect the pump to the PVC, whatever. So I had that clear vinyl tubing, and what I did is I ran the clear vinyl tubing. And I basically folded the end over on itself and clamped it so it would be like shut. And I drilled a small hole. And then I used these. These are drip emitters for like a garden. So on the first rack system, this is what I use to do water changes. So these are the 2 gallon per hours. So on a 10-gallon tank, you open the water valve and it's got this on it. It would change out 2 gallons in an hour. 2 gallons of 10 is 20% water change. So I could have all these on my 10-gallon tanks, open the drum, and set my timer on my phone for an hour, come back, and I did 20% water changes, and this just drips it in. Well, these have, you can see it, the black part is like a piercing barb. So I basically drilled a small hole in that vinyl tubing, pierce these in, and then that's how I connected, because the airline or water line, either whichever way you're using it, the airline connects right on these. So that's how I adapted from the vinyl tubing to the sponge filters, as I use these drip emitters. And I don't know if these are on the website. I have a bunch of these, and these are 30 packs. These are 30 packs. But this is how I was doing my water change system on the first rack, and then this is how I end up adding the airdrops using vinyl tubing, which was super easy. Somebody was asking about it. I might end up doing a video on it. So if somebody wants to get like a linear piston pump, but they're like afraid or they don't want to do the hard plumbing of the pipe and having to drill and tap for the fittings, the vinyl tubing, I mean, it's super easy. You put the vinyl tube on. If you have a drill, you just get a small drill bit. You drill a little. It's basically a pilot hole for this drip emitter, and it just you pop it in. That's it. And because it's barbed, once it gets in there, it locks in. It was super easy, and every time I add one, and it takes like a second. Mrs. Millhead said crawfish are tasty. I actually have never had crawfish. Crawfish, crayfish, mud bugs, mini lobsters. I've never had them. Von Yunzer said, what kind of feedback did you get on the O-Nips? Actually, I don't know if I got really feedback on them yet. I don't think I got any emails from the actual members, but I think people talked about it in the live streams, and honestly, I don't remember. So I probably need to email everybody and see. Mike is coming to buy some Fluval Stratum, and I'm going to give him a box while he's here. He's also a member. Instead of shipping a box to him, he's just going to pick it up, especially since he's coming to get the Fluval. But I'm going to let him try it and see how it works for him. I did use one of the spirulina tabs the other day. If you can see, these are like the darker green ones. These are really good for shrimp, and it didn't stick to the glass very well. So I need to keep trying them. So these might be worse than even the regular O-Nips, which are, worse than the original ingredient one. Can you put shrimp and guppies together? Yes. But if you're trying to breed shrimp, I would say no. I have a mono shrimp out in my guppy tank, and they're big. Mono shrimp are bigger. But if you're thinking of like red cherry shrimp, adult red cherries, the guppies would leave them alone. But when they breed, the shrimp babies are so small, the guppies will eat them. Guppies are kind of like carp. They eat from the surface, they eat mid-water, and they go around, they sift the substrate. They'll be in the gravel or sand. They'll be on backgrounds, rocks, leaves. Guppies eat from everywhere. So if you're trying to breed shrimp, which I think if you're going to buy shrimp, even if you don't plan on breeding them to like sell, you should plan on trying to allow them to breed, so that way you can keep your shrimp going, because shrimp, they could last 2 years or they could last 3 months. They do die, and if you buy 10 of them, I always tell people try to buy 20, because you probably will lose some, or at least buy 10 to start with, and then plan on buying 10 more once you know that you can keep the first 10 going. A colony of 20 or more is your best starting point, but I've heard of people buying 20 and then they all die within like a week, because like parameters are way off or something like that, too much stress. So maybe buy like a small pack and then plan on buying a second one later. But if you can get 20 of them, within a month you'll have babies for sure, as long as they're like a breeding size shrimp. But you want to have them reproducing, so that way you can keep your colony going, so that way you can continue to enjoy them. But yeah. Are these freshwater shrimp or saltwater gouramis? Saltwater gouramis. These are freshwater shrimp that we're talking about. Adele says, my shrimp have only lasted 2 months max. I'm putting a pin on that idea for a while. See, I've had shrimp, my original shrimp line, I had no issues with. I'm trying to think. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I bought some shrimp from a local fish store before I was really a hobbyist. I thought they were super cool, and I bought some. They all died within, I don't know, probably a couple weeks. So I'm assuming that I had some sort of parameter wrong in my tank. Months later, once I was really into the hobby more and, I was squared off, I ended up buying a 20 pack from Flip Aquatics because he's also here in Ohio, and I kept him for years. That tank is doing well, but the colony actually died off pretty hard after a couple years. And I blame myself for that. I blame that I wasn't doing water changes. I was doing water top offs. I think they weren't getting the nutrients they really needed. The plants are thriving in that tank. It's a jungle, but I think the plants were eating all the nutrients that the shrimp needed to correctly molt and stuff. So I think it ended up killing them off. So that's why I'm a firm believer that you got to keep doing water changes. You got to get those nutrients back into your water column. Ryan Jennings says, Adele, a little calmer in this chat compared to your admirer on last night's chat. That got weird. Ooh, what happened last night? See, I missed the OFR live stream last night. I did watch most of it today. Ryan said, kind of passed out watching the Mabuna tank. I'm up now. Sorry I'm late. Well, welcome, buddy. I'm trying to see where we're at. Yeah, Adele says you missed out. I had someone asking me out, etc. He got weird. There are some weird people on the internet, for sure. But Mr. and Mrs. Mellhead, I know that you guys are going up to OFR next weekend. When are you going up? Are you going up Friday night? I don't know. I know Josh asked if I was going to come back up. I don't know if I got to work or not because the new schedule. So our Saturday schedules run like 3 months in advance. Well, they haven't released. Today was like the last day on the schedule, so on Monday they're going to release the next 3 months. So I don't know if I work next Saturday or not yet. I'm thinking I might work next Saturday. Ray Aquatics, hello, bud. Every second comment he was blaming his uncle or something. Weird. Mrs. Mellhead said, yes, Friday night, leave Saturday sometime. Oh, I did. My friend let me borrow his Panasonic, like, digital camera, and I did take some video from the fish rescue, and I haven't looked at it yet because it's still on this tiny little card. But I did take some video of the tanks and stuff using a professional camera, not my cell phone, and like looking through the viewfinder on the little screen, it looked really good, but I don't know what it's going to look like once I put it on the computer. It could be worse than my cell phone for all I know. But I'll probably have another OFR like fish tank video here maybe this week with the footage that I took from Thursday night. But anyways, guys, it's been an hour, and I don't have anything else to talk about. So, hopefully my internet comes back up tomorrow. I kind of want to do another live stream tomorrow using my Streamlabs because I like messing around with that. But we'll see. But I have nothing else to talk about. It's been an hour, so let's call it quits. I want to thank everybody that was here tonight, and I want to thank all the super chatters. I appreciate the super chats, I really do, and hopefully I'll see you next Friday. And Mr. and Mrs. Mellhead, I'll see if I can come up there next weekend. I'm not planning on it, but maybe, you never know what will happen. But Happy New Year's to everybody. I hope it's got to be better than last year, right? So, Ryan, it's no problem, bud. Glad you made it for the last couple minutes. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. Oh, I just got a low battery warning on my phone. That's why I just locked up for a second. So my phone's about to die. Anyway, so even more reasons we should cut this off. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the super chats, and I'll see you next Friday, if not sooner. And not stay fishy. Keep tanking along, guys. See ya.